The orbital mansion floated like a silver jewel above the green-blue planet below. Its surfaces reflected the stars, and light from distant suns shimmered across its smooth walls. Inside, the air was cool, the floors polished to a mirror shine and quiet except for the low hum of machines that kept the home running. This mansion belonged to the Billionaire, a man known across galaxies for building empires and controlling fortunes. Yet even with all his wealth, his life was far from peaceful. The real challenge in his life was not the stock markets, the asteroid mining colonies, or the interstellar trade agreements. It was his 6 children. 6 twins, each born with a gift that made them unique, extraordinary, and restless. They had never slept. The eldest, Liam, had the power of telepathy. His mind could reach across distances and read thoughts, but without sleep. His head was always loud with unfiltered voices. He often rubbed his temples, trying to push away the flood of other people's feelings. The second, Nora, moved faster than anyone could see. Her body was like a blur, muscles tense, never resting. Then there was Leo, with the strength of 10 men. His arms ached constantly, unused to stillness. The fourth, Mia, could solve problems that even the most advanced computers struggled with, but her mind was like a storm of unending calculations. The fifth, Finn, could vanish. Invisible to all eyes, yet his body had no pause button and he wandered through the mansion like a shadow unable to rest. And lastly, Ella, the empath, who felt everything, the world's pain, the family's tension, the loneliness of the stars, but could never sleep to let her own heart heal. The mansion was crowded with technology, robotic caretakers, advanced medical monitors and AI systems designed to detect stress, fatigue, and emotional imbalance. Each device had been built with immense effort, tested across years, and programmed to anticipate the twins' every need. Still, none of it worked. Even the Billionaire had tried everything. He had hired the galaxy's best doctors, sleep scientists, and alien therapists. Nothing could make his children rest. He paced the halls, staring at their bedrooms from the top-floor windows. The mansion was alive with silence and tension, a paradox of luxury and despair. One day, a new worker arrived. She was small, her skin a pale lavender that glowed softly under the mansion's lights, her eyes wide and intelligent. She moved with careful precision, her hands gentle yet capable. She was an alien maid from a distant poor planet, a place where survival depended on empathy, observation, and patience rather than wealth or power. The Billionaire barely noticed her at first. How could someone so ordinary change the life of his extraordinary children? But she noticed them immediately. She noticed the flicker in Finn's eyes when he tried to vanish for comfort. She noticed how Mia's fingers twitched as if she wanted to touch numbers floating in the air. She noticed Liam's restless head movement, Nora's constant pacing, and Leo's tight fists. She noticed the sadness in Ella's eyes, the way she tried to contain emotions she could never escape. The alien maid did not have advanced machines. She did not bring devices that hummed, buzzed, or lit up with blinking screens. She had only herself and her ability to see what others could not. She started quietly watching. She observed the twins when they were alone, when they thought no one was looking, when the house was at its quietest. At first, the twins ignored her. They barely noticed anything in their lives except the flood of their own energy and abilities. But she was patient. She noticed that Liam's headaches worsened when he tried to block voices. She saw that Nora's legs trembled when she tried to slow down. She understood that Leo's muscles ached from never stopping, that Mia's mind raced faster when she had no distractions, that Finn felt lost without boundaries, and that Ella's heart became heavier when ignored. One evening, the alien maid sat quietly in the corner of the twins' playroom. She hummed softly, a tune from her home planet, a rhythm meant to calm the mind and body. It was simple, almost like breathing. One by one, the twins paused mid-action, noticing the sound. No one had sung in their presence before. No one had spoken to them without orders, without instructions, without science. She only sang, soft and steady. Finn stopped vanishing, his form flickering for a moment as if trying to understand the unfamiliar sensation of calm. Mia's mind slowed just enough to notice the melody, and for the first time in a long while, she smiled slightly. Liam felt the voices in his head soften, no longer shouting but whispering like a distant wind. Nora's speed slowed unconsciously. Leo sank into a chair and Ella felt her heart lighten. The Billionaire, watching from a balcony above, frowned. How could such a simple act affect his children when all the advanced machines, all the technology, and all the experts had failed? He did not understand. He did not see what she saw, the power of care, attention, and connection. Days passed, and the alien maid continued her gentle observations. She began creating small rituals for each child, based on the unique nature of their abilities. Liam received quiet moments with her voice in his mind, calming the chaos of telepathy. Nora practiced gentle movements like stretching that slowed her internal speed. Leo was guided to focus his strength into controlled exercises, giving his muscles a reason to rest. Mia learned puzzles that were playful, not stressful, to tire her mind softly. Finn discovered a small box where he could hide safely without vanishing completely, learning boundaries. Ella received constant small interactions, helping her feel connected, yet unburdened. Slowly, subtle changes appeared. Liam no longer shouted in his mind. Nora walked instead of running. Leo yawned openly, something never seen before. Mia laughed quietly. Finn stayed in one place without fidgeting, and Ella's eyes sparkled with light. The billionaire was both angry and amazed. He stormed into the rooms one evening, demanding to know what she was doing. She looked up calmly, her hands steady, her tone soft. "I am listening," she said. "I am observing. I am helping them rest themselves, not through machines, but through understanding." The billionaire laughed bitterly. "Understanding? That's not science. That's not engineering. That won't help them." The alien maid smiled faintly, almost as if she expected this. She continued her work quietly, never arguing, never raising her voice. And that night, something miraculous happened. Liam fell asleep first, eyes closing like a curtain on a stage. Nora followed, slowly sinking into the mattress, muscles finally softening. Leo lay down, his body heavy with relief. Mia's mind finally rested, the storm slowing to a gentle breeze. Finn disappeared into a deep, dreamless rest, and Ella's heart finally let go of 1,000 invisible weights. The billionaire stared, speechless, as his 6 extraordinary children slept peacefully for the first time in their lives. The machines around them hummed, useless and silent. No screen, no robot, no AI had achieved this. Only the small alien maid had. She watched over them quietly, ensuring their rest was undisturbed. Her presence was calm, steady, and nurturing. She had not used technology or force, only attention, empathy, and the subtle ways her alien culture had taught her to heal. By morning, the mansion was transformed. The children awoke refreshed, calmer, more balanced. Their abilities were still extraordinary, but now controlled. Their laughter echoed through the halls, genuine and bright. The billionaire finally understood something he had never realized before. No amount of money or technology could replace understanding and care. The alien maid had changed not just the children, but the entire household. Where there had been stress, there was now calm. Where there had been chaos, there was balance. The billionaire, once proud and impatient, felt humbled. He watched his children play, their powers still strong, their minds clear, and their hearts light. He walked to the alien maid and asked softly, almost afraid to break the moment, "How did you do it?" She looked up at him with her gentle, glowing eyes. "I watched. I listened. I cared. Sometimes the smallest things can do what the greatest machines cannot." For the first time, the billionaire realized that no wealth, no power, and no empire could compare to the gift of understanding another being. And in that quiet, gleaming mansion floating above the planet, the 6 extraordinary twins finally slept. The mansion had never been so quiet. For the first time in its long, shining existence, peace settled over its floors and halls. The 6 twins slept deeply, their chests rising and falling slowly, their extraordinary powers finally resting in harmony. The alien maid moved among them, her small hands adjusting blankets, smoothing hair, and humming softly. She did not rush. She had learned that patience was as vital as understanding. The billionaire paced the top balcony, staring down at the scene. He had watched many wonders, built empires across planets, and controlled fleets that spanned star systems, yet none of that compared to this. He had not understood before what true influence could be. Not wealth, not power, not even technology. True influence came from seeing another being completely and responding with care. The next morning, the twins woke slowly, blinking into the soft light of the mansion. Liam rubbed his temples and found the headaches gone. Nora stretched, her limbs finally unstrained. Leo flexed his muscles experimentally, feeling the relief of proper rest. Mia looked at puzzles she had designed for herself and smiled without the urgency that usually plagued her mind. Finn stood still without thinking of disappearing, enjoying the simple sensation of presence. Ella hugged her siblings, feeling the lightness in her heart that had been absent for so long. The billionaire descended from his balcony, moving cautiously. He stopped at the edge of the room and watched the alien maid quietly interacting with his children. She knelt next to Ella, speaking softly, her voice like a gentle rhythm. She guided Mia's fingers as they traced patterns in the light of the room, showing her how to play without stress. She encouraged Finn to walk next to her instead of vanishing, and she held Liam's hand briefly, letting him feel safe. The billionaire felt a strange mix of emotions. He had spent years studying every possible technique to help his children, yet he had failed. He had relied on machines, science, and experts, but nothing could replace the alien maid's presence. He realized how little he had understood about the human or alien heart. Over the following weeks, the mansion transformed. The halls that had once echoed with the restless pacing and chaotic energy of sleepless children now carried laughter, soft conversation, and the sounds of ordinary play. The twins learned to enjoy their powers without letting them dominate their lives. Liam could use telepathy carefully, hearing thoughts without being overwhelmed. Nora ran and played, but also rested. Leo lifted heavy objects for fun, not frustration. Mia solved puzzles joyfully. Finn explored invisibly only when he wished, and Ella felt the emotions of the world without being crushed by them. The alien maid's influence extended beyond just their sleep. She taught the twins small routines that combined movement, calm breathing, and shared experiences. The mansion became a place of balance. The robots and AI that had once been the primary caretakers now worked alongside her, no longer the masters of the twins' lives. Even the billionaire found himself learning from her. He tried mimicking her methods, listening more carefully, speaking softly, and observing rather than commanding. One evening, the billionaire called a meeting in the grand dining room. The table stretched the length of the room, lit by floating lamps that mimicked distant stars. The twins sat around it, quietly attentive, while the alien maid prepared the dishes. The billionaire looked at her, realizing that this small being had become the heart of his household. "I need to understand," he said quietly. "How do you do it? How did you change them?" She placed a hand on the table, her lavender skin glowing faintly. "I did not change them," she said. "I only helped them change themselves. They were lost in their own abilities, their own energy, and the world's expectations. I gave them time, attention, and space to discover balance. That is all." He nodded slowly, absorbing the words. He had tried to force solutions with technology, but all it had done was highlight the chaos. The alien maid had reminded him that even extraordinary beings need patience, care, and connection. Days later, a crisis arrived. A small meteor shower threatened the orbital mansion, and alarms blared through the halls. The twins reacted instinctively. Liam's telepathy detected the approach of debris before sensors could register it. Nora dashed to reinforce shields. Leo moved heavy modules to protect the younger twins. Mia calculated the safest patterns of movement for everyone. Finn vanished briefly to repair structural weaknesses, and Ella coordinated their emotional energy, keeping fear from overwhelming them. The billionaire watched, amazed, as the twins worked together calmly, their powers controlled, their minds focused, and their hearts steady. The alien maid moved alongside them, guiding and encouraging subtly. The meteor shower passed with minor damage, and for the first time, the billionaire realized that his children's abilities, once chaotic and dangerous, could now be powerful tools when balanced by understanding and care. He approached the alien maid as the last piece of debris floated past. "You didn't just help them sleep," he said quietly. "You taught them control, focus, and teamwork. You changed everything." She smiled faintly, eyes reflecting the starlight. "They did it themselves," she said. "I only gave them the chance to see it." Weeks passed, and the mansion settled into a rhythm that had never existed before. The billionaire found himself visiting the twins' rooms not to check for problems, but to observe, to learn, and to connect. Liam practiced telepathy exercises with her guidance. Nora ran circuits around the mansion without strain. Leo lifted weights for fun and relaxation. Mia solved playful puzzles. Finn explored invisibly with joy rather than frustration. And Ella practiced meditations that balanced her emotions. The children flourished in ways no one could have predicted. Their abilities became sharper, more refined, and more controlled. The mansion, once a place of tension and sleepless nights, became a true home filled with laughter, warmth, and life. The billionaire invited other experts from across the galaxy to observe his children's progress, but he found that no lecture, no formula, and no device could replicate the alien maid's methods. Her work was simple yet profound. Empathy, observation, patience, and connection. She had not relied on wealth or technology. She had relied on understanding, and that had made all the difference. One evening, the twins gathered in the grand lounge. Liam telepathically shared small thoughts, checking on everyone. Nora and Leo played a game of strength and speed, laughing without fatigue. Mia designed a playful puzzle on a holoscreen, while Finn vanished briefly to set up surprises. Ella guided everyone in a quiet group meditation, their emotions aligning peacefully. The billionaire watched silently from the balcony, tears forming in his eyes. He had always believed that power and wealth were the ultimate solutions, but now he understood the true meaning of influence. It was not in controlling others, but in helping them see their own strength and potential. He walked to the alien maid, who was sitting quietly by the window gazing at the stars. "Thank you," he said simply. "You have done more than I ever could have imagined. You have given them life, balance, and joy." She looked at him with gentle eyes. "You gave them life," she said softly. "I only helped them find it." From that night onward, the mansion became a place of harmony. The twins slept when they needed, played when they wished, and used their abilities with care and precision. The billionaire learned to let go of control, and he spent more time observing and understanding than commanding. The alien maid became a revered figure in the household, respected not for her origin or rank, but for the wisdom and empathy she brought. One quiet night, the billionaire stood on the balcony, looking down at the 6 children sleeping peacefully. In the lounge, their hands sometimes brushing each other, a sign of comfort and trust. He realized that the greatest treasure he had ever found was not his empire, nor the wealth he controlled, but the life and balance of his children, and the alien maid who had unlocked it. The stars outside glimmered, reflecting the mansion's light like tiny echoes of hope. The billionaire smiled, knowing that for the first time he truly understood what it meant to care, to guide, and to nurture. And in that orbit above a distant planet, the 6 twins slept soundly, their extraordinary abilities finally at peace, their hearts light, and their minds free. The alien maid sat quietly nearby, humming softly, her small presence a constant reminder that even the smallest beings could bring the greatest change. And in that moment, the mansion no longer felt like a fortress of wealth and power, but a home, a place of understanding, and a sanctuary for extraordinary children who had finally learned to rest. The billionaire realized that life was not about controlling the universe, but about connecting with those you cared for. And in the quiet glow of the orbital mansion, surrounded by laughter, rest, and love, he knew that they had all been changed, forever, not by machines, not by money, but by empathy, patience, and the smallest acts of kindness that created the greatest transformations.